Welcome back to part 2. That wasn't supposed to be a part 2, but we talked too long. This episode. We don't know what we're naming it yet.
Yeah,
so.
Right. So we had to put this in 2 parts because it definitely extended longer than we thought, but that's also because part 2 definitely got a whole lot more heavier than we anticipated or thought it would.
Yeah, or we're planning at all. Definitely the episode. Speaking of our next week's spontaneity episode, so living in spontaneity, this episode took a turn with what we were talking about, and it wasn't what was planned, but I think it was what was needed.
Yes.
So just heavy warning. There will be discussions of SA, some descriptions, and just a very deep and personal recounting and sharing going on. And yeah, we share some resources in the end. But just to share here, if you want to call 988, that's the National Suicide Hotline. But you can call them if you have any feelings towards yourself. Try to call before it gets to that point. But definitely call. If you're at that point, just call, period. Call, period. And then National Sexual Assault Hotline, 24-hour support is 800-656-HOPE. 800-656-HOPE. So yeah.
Yeah. So definitely continue to support us. We thank you in that. Definitely enjoy part 2 of this episode. Sure.
Yeah. And we love y'all so much. We're saying love you now. We'll say love you again.
Absolutely.
But we love y'all, bitches.
Love y'all. Okay, we'll watch that episode.
Yeah. See you later. Not bye. See you later.
It's so true. It's like hardly ever do female teachers who get assaulted for hardly any of them ever do jail time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then they should definitely be on the... I don't think we should take down how much we say is wrong for male teachers. I think we should just hype up how wrong we say it is for female teachers and put it on the same plane.
Absolutely.
Because if anything, I think we should hype both of them up. Hype it the hell up. That is wrong and unacceptable. It should never be in anyone's mind. And that's what's also hard about, even if you do share stories about subjects like that, to even on here, because we say it's not for kids, but kids are tech savvy now more than me. They could find this video, and even them hearing this, even though all of our intention is good, it's still scary of what to do, because you want everybody to be informed and aware, but you don't want the wrong people to be informed and aware, or too aware, or the message of the story to get moved in a different way where it's being taken wrong, or the part that you were harping on is actually being highlighted as a good it feels really helpless a lot of times to want good for people and to just have what should be a normal, loving and well-funcking society.
Right.
I don't know why it's so fucking hard.
I don't understand either, And I mean, and I get, get for every good, there's always going to be bad. You know what I mean? And I guess, and unfortunately, I guess that's the dynamic of the universe, unfortunately. Of course, I think you just need more people who choose to be on the side of good,
and actively fight against
actively fight against it. I think for every these shows that praise it, there need to be shows that I don't want to say condemn it, what I'm saying, because it's these things are like things, so it's not shelter there, but
you still want there to be an outlet for people that did go through it, watching to know that they're okay and they did nothing wrong, and that it was all the other person that was evil and not them, and that nothing that they did led to this. It was completely on the perpetrator and not on the victim. But it's also but but you have to do such a fine dance with that to make that message abundantly clear.
Yeah, it's gonna, and it's tough because of, again, I mean, how our society has shaped a lot of things. Like even when I saw people before, I was like, how did you learn to date? And I asked a lot of people that. How did you learn to date?
Yeah.
And the way that we date is socially constructed. Mm-hmm. Because you think about, nobody told you that. I mean, you get these things that reaffirm, like, you get like somebody, and you start talking to them, and then you start holding hands, and then you kiss, and then you go together. Or you're supposed to go on dates, so you're supposed to then get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been socially constructed in this manner that really doesn't really work, and it doesn't work in that way because people are trying to then hold these ideas that's not, I guess, kind of even in our nature of things. So it allows
little girls are sexualized from basically day one, and they are like treated as a prop for men from the beginning. Because I know at age like 5, my grandma started asking me, "How's my love life?" Started asking me if I had a boyfriend. People would say, I've seen people say this to multiple little girls. This isn't just my family. I've seen it all over, of being like, "You're so beautiful. Like, I bet you have a boyfriend." Like, to like a 6-year-old. Like, and so not only are you sexualizing them, but you're also reiterating heterosexuality is the only way to exist. And that was extremely difficult for me, first of all, because there was all this pressure from my peers to, like, I did everything later in life. Like, I kissed someone later than a lot of my friends. I had sex later than a lot of my friends. Like, I really took my time, thankfully, because I was anxious about it, but that pressure was there from when I was probably 12 to have sex.
Right. But I feel like, and I feel like it's the same. I mean, even for men, I mean, it's even, same thing.
Yeah.
And early on as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember being...
You're pressured to initiate sex.
I remember being younger, you know what I'm saying? Even have older women like, "Oh my God, you so handsome," or "You so good," or, you know what I mean? Like, I'd date you if you was this, that, third. And I'm like, but
ew!
All the things. Listen, all the things.
Oh my God.
All the things, but it was like, and so you get that too, and you get it reiterated as well. Like, like the earlier, the sooner, you know what I mean? And, or those things. I mean, the amount of men, who I know who again engages in sex, I mean, early or very young, or did so typically by, females who were older, a bit older, you know what I mean, is a lot, and so, it's kind of one of those weird things where, and kind of to show your, because I remember that my first time was like, the first thought in my head wasn't, it wasn't, "Oh my God, like, I'm in love with this girl and, about to do something that's, going to change me." And, my first thought when I made the decision, like, it was about to happen, was, "It's time to be a man now." That was like the first thought. And then, everything else. But, that was the first thought, like, okay, this is when you become a man now, and it's to think that is what I thought and identify a man as, is him being able to have sex, or to have women, or multiple, all the things, is so crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, not knowing then at that time, because it wasn't until later that I remember, but I remember that was my exact first thought, and so it always kind of stuck with me. But and then, like I said, knowing now life was like, that doesn't justify you as being a man or not. Especially because, guys talking, especially high school, and they are talking about it. So you want to, you got the older guys who are, doing it already, whatever, so you feel like, okay, I got, all the things,
Yeah.
And you got kind of labels and titles and all these kind of things. If you're not, it's all of it, So, like you said, the unconformed pressure,
Yeah.
is wild.
I might regret this later, but I feel compelled in this moment to share something about myself that hopefully resonates with someone in a positive way, and will encourage someone that doesn't want to have sex to not, you know, if you don't, then don't, you know. But I can't imagine how much later, like, I know it would have been later that when I lost my virginity if the first time wasn't taken away from me. Because the first time, it's, like, not sex, but it's, like, I lost my virginity through assault. By someone who was older. I don't know how much older than me, but he was definitely older. Actually had a kid on the way and a whole ass, like, fiance. Didn't know any of that until later because he's dead. So that was a whole thing. But that's not even the important part of the story. But I basically I was back in the same place that the assault happened, and I wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be there. And so I was looking at him, and everyone was like, miss you. And I was like, what? So, yeah, this is a car crash. Horrible for the family. Kind of a relief in a weird way, because I knew that he wouldn't hurt anybody else. And I felt so guilty for not going to the authorities and not, like, starting a case, because I am such a fighter and I do want to, like, do good and I want to stop bad people. But I mean, it took me months to really come to terms with, like, that's what I experienced, and that was, like, my first time stolen. And then later I just had sex because I still didn't want to, but everyone was asking you if you're a virgin when you're in college, and that happened, like, right before college. And then everyone was asking me if I was a virgin. I'm just like, fuck it. Okay, I want to say that I'm not a virgin and not feel like I'm lying. For real. Either way. Like, lying, saying I am, lying, I'm saying I'm not, because it wasn't sex. So, yeah. But I really hope people know that it is okay to wait as long as you possibly want to wait. And if you have a gut instinct, follow it. Because when that happened, like, I was, and some of my family might find out by this episode, so I'm sorry that I didn't tell you, but, you know, I'm also not sorry, because it's mine to share, and I'm being brave, and I don't have to tell anybody. Thank you. It is. But I, like, texted my family, because they were family friends, so they didn't think anything was going to happen like that. Of course, it's not their fault. And I went off and hung out with him, and I felt like things were going weird, but it hadn't happened yet, because he kept on trying to get me drunk. He kept on trying to get me just fucked up. And I was like, hold on, I don't need to do this. I need to, like, stay sober right now. And I just had a feeling that I should. And then, yeah, I won't go into the details of how it happened. But right before, I was, like, texting my dad and, like, just normal conversations, like, how are you doing? What are y'all up to? And, like, in my brain, I was telling myself to leave, but, like, I couldn't, and that was the most that I could do. But, of course, nobody's gonna know that I'm, like, reaching out for help when I'm asking a normal conversation. And he was even like, what are you doing? Like, aren't you supposed to be having fun right now? Like, are you hanging out? You don't have to text me. Like, we're fine. But if it was me now, obviously I would, like, remove myself and just walk away. But I felt stuck. And that is okay for me or any other victims to have those feelings and feel stuck, because the act shouldn't happen, period. Because no one's body is someone else's to have. Mm-hmm. Your body is for you, and what you do with it is your choice. It's not anybody else's. Mm-hmm. And anybody that thinks otherwise is severely damaged. And part of that is what we've talked about with society today. And I don't know why I felt like I wanted to talk about that, but I really hope that someone, like, understands that they have a choice. Mm-hmm. And that if that choice was taken away from them, it's not their fault. Yeah. Like, it's not. And it took me a while to get there, because there were some people that I shared this with that immediately started asking me what I was wearing, what I was doing, if I was drinking. None of those fucking questions matter. Right. It does not matter. It doesn't matter. It should not have happened. I verbally also said no multiple times. I said no out loud. And also, it doesn't matter if you said no or not. If you didn't say yes, you said no. But I verbally said no. I literally did everything I could. And having to physically get myself in the situation and physically get away. And I remember I texted my friend, like, that night and was like, I think I was, like, trying to convince myself it was okay because I really liked this guy. And he was talking about starting a life with me and, like, all this love bombing that I totally fell for, which was not my fault because I was young and inexperienced. But I was, like, convincing myself, okay, well, if he likes me, then it's okay what happened. And trying to convince myself it was sex. And I remember texting my friend and being like, I think I just lost my virginity, like, trying to be happy about it, but I was also confused, and, like, I just remember sitting in that bathroom, like, what just happened? Like, I don't understand, because it doesn't happen like how it happens in the movies. Right. Someone just doesn't grab, I mean, sometimes, but usually people don't just grab you, throw you up against a wall in an alley, and, like, take you. Like, it can be very manipulative, and it can happen whether you're married to the person, whether you know the person. It can happen in any circumstance. So, like, just, if this, I really hope it doesn't happen to you. If it happens to you, reach out to the ones that you trust and love and won't try to victim blame you. And don't feel like you need to share it with anybody if you don't want to, but definitely find some professional help. There are groups that you can go to, but just know that it was never and will never and is never your fault. It is 100% the other person's. So I really hope that, bringing it back to what we were talking about, that Gandhi's grandnieces don't feel like what happened to them was their fault. Because it wasn't. It was his fault. And honestly, everyone's fault who saw it and were adults and did nothing. But mainly his fault. What happened to me was not anyone in my life's fault. They did not know, nor did they think it was possible, so they wouldn't have allowed me to hang out with him. And it was not his family's fault. It was no one's fault but his fault. And I'm just glad. I'm sad for his family and for their loss, I guess. But I'm happy that at least I know one person will be adding to that assault. So I don't know, I feel like I should share this, but I'm also kind of scared because it makes you feel damaged. It makes you feel like, even though I know it's not my fault, and I know that so deeply within me, and something about speaking out about it that makes me feel like people are just gonna look at me as, like, damaged and untouchable and gross, you know, even though I know that that's not logically what should happen or what is true. It's just that we're made to believe that. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to look you in the eye most of the time I'm talking.
It's okay. I believe, you know, everything you say is so true, and I believe that, you know, this definitely helps a lot of people. And I mean, and these stories need to be talked about, because I think that, you know, when it comes on both sides, for men and women, for boys and girls, like, these are the parts of the stories they need to tell more of. So again, that we all become accountable in what we do, you know, and I mean that as far as, like, to try to, you know, get to a point where these people who have this, I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? I don't give it past and say it's like sickness to start. I don't know. Because again, I don't understand the mentality of it. Like, again, like I said, pedophilia and rape are two things to me that I just don't understand. You know what I mean? And I don't want to understand. I'm grateful I don't understand. You know what I mean? But it's,
my hand's hot.
But you know, it's
thank you. I needed that.
But you know, it's we have to, because it's so many people, and so many people have this same story, you know, and so you're not alone. You're not alone in it, you know, and you know you have the room to feel how you need to feel and cope and deal with how you need to feel, and like I said, you got to talk to people. If you got to find these therapeutic things to be able to, you know, if you've been a victim for sure, you know, and how do you get to a point you can truly, you know, heal in that in aspect, and I do think that by talking about it and speaking about it, you know, it does eventually help those things and heal those things, you know, if you can, because you get it out or find a way just to get it out, you know, because I think when you harbor it in, then it's just never a good thing that happens when people harbor those things. And again, being in a place where you're so young, you don't know, you know. But again,
I already hated my body before that happened, so I've really like struggled hating it even more after. And
like I said, it needs to be more normal of these kind of conversations happening, especially even at those levels of like middle school, high school. Yeah, you have like, you know, you ever had like sex ed, but sex ed didn't go into...
Sex ed said abstinence is the answer. Keep it moving.
Right, exactly.
And here's a picture of gonorrhea. Like, that's it.
That's exactly what it was, but it don't deal with these things on a psychological level, especially
consent
when it comes to...
should 100% be part of sex education.
Absolutely.
How could it not?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And making it a duty on both, so that everybody know, as the victimizer, to, I guess, not have those thoughts, or to, I don't know if those things need to be things that we need to do more, because, you know, people who have those thoughts and desires for anything, or I guess what could be considered taboo, probably in themselves don't know who they feel safe or trust enough to say, hey, I even have this problem, without feeling like they're going to be shamed, kicked out, you know. So a lot
or that that person's going to tell people or anything.
Know?
Like,
and so I feel like some of that's holding those things in again, human nature, the psyche. Eventually, you're going to break, especially if you constantly think about it and fantasize. You know, I mean, human nature is that's what they're going to do. Okay, I got an opportunity. You know, and so
and there's still times where I'm like fully consenting to sex. I'm happy to be doing it, and then I don't know what happens. I don't know where it comes from, but something triggers me from that experience, and I have to stop. Like this happened a lot with my ex, just because it was a good relationship. He was actually really good with it, and it was something about being in a good place with someone with that like sometimes would trigger me back to that place. And like there were multiple times where I just had to stop and just started crying, and like he just was incredible. Like I'll never be able to thank him enough for everything he helped me like through with that, because like he, you know, we'd get our clothes on, like we wouldn't still be naked, so and he just like be there for me and like rub my back and like hold my hand, you know. Sometimes you just need someone to hold your hand and rub your back and say it's gonna be okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. And I think, you know, it's definitely far from broken, for sure, because again, this takes courage and strength, and to get to this place, you know, mentally and emotionally, and you know, even, and it gets to a place where you can even had gotten past that point where you can be intimate with even somebody else, and you know, and I know and I know it's a thing. I mean, I feel like anybody, you know, man or woman who, you know, been assaulted, you know, is going to have those feelings, or never kind of feeling, you know, clean, so to speak, no matter how much you know, because you just always you know, get to that place. But I think by finding ways to be active in it, and you know, really kind of just, you know, speak on it. And I feel like that with a lot of trauma periods, you have to really attack it really head on, and not you know, not hold it in, or be so afraid, because again, you know, and I love we're in the place where we are, you know, in our day and time and age, because there is so many groups and resources now, you know, and I think we need to reiterate these resources, you know, and if people feel like, you know, they're in situations they can't get, you know, we have these things, you know.
At least there's a bunch of them, but the 988 is easy to remember. The Suicide National Hotline, they can talk to you about anything. It doesn't have to be if you're just contemplating not just, but if you're contemplating ending your life, it because there is a bunch of feelings that happen before you're at that point, and someone can help you like stop and reevaluate those feelings and help you work through those feelings so you never reach that point.
And I think we need those things even more so in those situations. So we need particular numbers that if you're in a position where you feel like, okay, somebody's maybe forcing me to consent to something, and I don't know out or whatever, text this number, then somebody can, maybe it prompts so you feel like you're in immediate trouble, you need some help, you know what I'm saying? Or again, just like you said, somebody being able to mediate to say, just something you really want to do, can you get away for a moment maybe, and then or maybe send some help if that's his thing, because again, nobody want to be like, okay, well, I want to call the police and then or make the person back, but we need those things to be like said relevant and adamant, like the same way we know 911, we need to know what, the number or hotline you can text or call if this this is happening, because those things could definitely be different. And again, especially we talk about assault and stuff, I just think about men, women, kids, or whatever, who they just had a number they could just really quickly or something, to get something or. Yeah,
I'm sure there is something, but it's gonna be long and hard to remember.
It needs to, but like I said, those things need to be in, talk a little bit more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about against sex, it needs to be good, the bad, and ugly. Because, like I said, families aren't doing it, and that's the thing about it. Because it's been kind of teachers do it. Like I don't remember ever growing up and quote unquote having the talk. You know what I mean? No. So it's like, where are we having these conversations, and who are we having these conversations with? And the thing need to be a thing for both, something that getting men and women, are taught again at the young ages that you don't do this, men, you don't do these things, women, you don't do these things, you don't, what I'm saying, those kind of just social things of. I think we just been talked about. Like I said, we didn't talk. You didn't talk about you didn't talk about sexual assault and stuff. Yeah, in sex ed, at all.
Right, and that's why I disagree with sex ed being purely on the parents, because a lot of parents aren't going to talk about that. Period. But I think that the teachers teaching sex ed should be heavily vetted, and someone from a program like this needs to know exactly what they're saying in the classroom, and it needs to be very particular.
And these stories need to be made more real so that people are more aware that they happen and exist, so that precautions can happen and exist. So that hopefully, again, if nobody else, then parents will at least, if you're not going to have the talk, then at least let's start having some talks where it's like, in case you ever feel like X, Y, and again, those things definitely can really truly help. Some people can know, and again, in those moments, a lot of times you just still, even if I say, call, you ever say, call, if you ever in trouble, call me now. But sometimes you're in those situations where, but again, we need to just.
So before we get any further, I do want to share this. I looked up. So Rain has a Rain.org is sharing the National Sexual Assault Hotline. It's 100% confidential, 24/7 support. So it is 800-656-4673. So it's 800-656-HOPE. Okay, so if you ever need to talk to someone, there's a bunch of resources that they have. There's several other groups, but I wanted to at least get one specific number for that. And then all else fails, call 988. If you're having any, really, just call them. Just call them. Any negative feelings about yourself or life or the thought of living, call them.
Please call them.
You might as well. Please. If that can not only save you from having more life-ending thoughts later, but you could help save the people around you too. So if that motivates you, if it's about helping stop it before it gets worse, whatever motivates you, or if you just want to share that number with somebody, that is a great resource to use. And there's several others as well. There's religious, non-religious, whatever you prefer.
Yes, definitely. I think anonymous. Before look for those things. Look for groups. Look for resources. Whatever helps you. Especially if you're a victim. Whatever will help you. Continue to go through. I think. It's unfortunate that trauma, happens, or you hear, bad things happen to good people, all these things. But I think that, we're really here for one another. We're supposed to be here for one another. And even if, my situation, and again, I mean, we're really strong. We're really strong people, to kind of push through and still be able to be resilient. And, sometimes that's our story is just enough to help somebody else just push themselves along a little bit more, because we're proof that we can survive it. And there's power in,
and not only survive but thrive,
and
baby.
Survive and thrive. There's power in both of those. It truly is. And I think when we tap into the power within us to be able to push through those things and find a community that we can help pull them up as well, because for us to think that we can't do this life without one another, it's impossible. I don't care how you feel about a certain person or people or whatever. At the end of the day, we need each other to literally to survive. Like nobody's out here living literally for themselves with no help from nobody. Like it just ever right? No. It just doesn't happen. So we have to just really start getting to where we love each other, and and we got to start to really change a lot of we just got to change so much. I mean
less is normal. It's just not taking it like, not lusting after something that's not. And so
all these things that's coming out, I'm so happy. All these like gets and gadgets and sex robots. Oh, listen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know. Please. And they just passed a law that all the bars, I think nationally, but definitely in California, they have like behind the bar testing kits for your drink.
Oh, nice.
So you can find out if somebody spiked it.
Oh, that's good.
And they're free. You just ask the bartender for it, and they should have it. I know for sure in California, but I think they're sprinkling across the nation as well.
Those things.
And then the good scrunchie, cover it up, the tricks. Sometimes, but you can't be although it is never your fault. Let me reiterate that. Try not to be like, oh, I put my scrunchie over it, so it's good, because sometimes the evil people will be like, oh, you're trying to protect yourself? Let me
now
come after you.
Right.
Yeah, so.
In that way. So, and then again, there's nothing, you can really do in many cases, other than, just try to be, hyper,
get through it.
Hyper vigilant, at all times.
And trust your gut.
Trust your gut. Yeah,
I have such a good, strong gut now about people.
Trust it.
I used to let, like, anybody, I'd be like, why don't I feel like I like them? And I'm like, I'm just being mean. Like, they've done nothing but been nice to me. Right. Why do I have this feeling that they're not good? Yeah. And I used to just give people the benefit of the doubt, and still, I wanted to get to know the people that I had the gut feeling about, like, more than anybody I had a good feeling about. Because it was just interesting to find out, like, what that feeling is. Now, I'm not fucking interested. I have that feeling. Bitch, bye.
It's something. It's something for a reason.
My soul, who has probably been here through many different lifetimes, is telling me, run. I'm going to run.
Yes. And we we just gotta get to that point. We're just having these conversations.
But it takes time.
Especially having these conversations. And we gotta start having these conversations as young, as young as possible, because it'll be, again, these with technology and stuff, like, these kids know more stuff early on, way more than we did. So to ever feel like, they don't know, they know.
Yeah, they know.
They know. And so the conversation should begin early, because, again, a lot of stuff happen early. Like I said, family members and stuff. So
it should probably happen when they're like 10 and 11, honestly, because I feel like that's when everybody found out about.
And sometimes I feel
sex
again,
feel so young.
Sometimes, there's certain things you can't say, but there's always certain things you can. Because, again, even younger, you know what I mean? Because, again,
well, you should teach consent from the jump.
Yeah.
Like, if a child steals another child's toy, say, no, so-and-so was playing with that and they did not give you consent to take it from them. You need to give it back to them and ask them if you can have it. And if they say no, then you need to find another toy. Like, it's conversations that set them up to know, okay, I need to ask people for things, and if they say no, I need to accept it and move on.
Right. And those are things you can reiterate early, so that by the time you get to the level of sex, is already understood too.
Yeah.
Hey, we asked for,
that's why even with hugs, like, I am such a hugger. So much. But I always make sure I say, I hug if you hug.
Right. I was saying, wait,
I'm
a hugger.
Like,
is it okay?
And with kids, I never try to just hug them.
For sure.
Like, if it's like someone that's like family and close to me, like, I will still ask the kid if I can get a hug. If they don't want to give me a hug, I don't go for the hug. Mm-hmm. Like, that is also teaching them consent. Right. Like, just because it's someone like on a power structure under you, like, regardless whether you're babysitting, whether you're even the parent, if they don't want to hug you, they don't have to hug you.
Right.
Like,
I agree. That person at a certain age, I don't hug kids at a certain age period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, once they like a baby, once they get out of point, I can't hold them this way. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even.
No, because I have to get in such a weird position if I want to hug them anyways to try to keep my body away from them.
Right.
Like, where they're just hugging my, top of my shoulder and not,
playing a lot of high fives and stuff.
High fives are better.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm especially,
because it's also, you don't want to, like, even though, like, your intentions are fine, you don't want to reiterate, like, this is normal for adults to, like, hug you how adults hug,
exactly,
you know?
Exactly. All those things. I definitely agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You know, so we definitely have to have these discussions more, like, literally, so we can really keep these people, like, accountable. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing, is like, so the world knows, like, this stuff isn't okay, and we get to a place that's, we do it. I don't know how that happens, but as a society, we have to change how we really sexualize everything, because that's the bigger part. We talk about sexualizing kids, but everything in our culture is sexualized or over sexualized as well. So
I think the Netflix one you were talking about earlier was actually that movie with the little girls that, like, had an uproar years ago too, maybe. But there's sorry, that popped back into my mind.
This was a whole series.
Oh, then it must have been. Then you were probably talking about Euphoria, because there was something on Netflix. That's why. But there's at least 10 things on every app. Honestly, even probably on Schmizney. And I have to say their name like that because they will sue anybody. Allegedly. But. Yeah, this ended up being a longer episode than we planned. Sure it ended up being very different than we planned. But that's why we're going to be talking about spontaneity next time, y'all.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you just got to go with the moment and let things happen how they happen, as long as everybody's consenting.
I was going to say, as long as everybody consent, let it go. And you're not harming nobody else in the process, too. Or yourself. So. And
I really hope at least one person got something from that, and I didn't just share that.
Yeah, I know, you did. I guarantee. Yeah, and like I say, we don't see it now. Yeah, you know, it's gonna be quite a few, I'm sure, because it's truth. Yeah, you know, and so many people, you know, and the numbers don't lie. And if you look at the numbers of sexual assault, it is unfortunate, actually. So we have to start having these conversations so that people know what to do, because that'd be the biggest thing. Because we don't have the conversations, then a lot of times in those moments we don't know what to do, and you freeze up, you know.
Yeah, and I'll extend this by an hour if I talk about this subject, but eventually I would like to talk about how alcohol leads into a lot of that, and how, because I've noticed since I've become sober, how much alcohol is shoved down people's throats. Like, if you're not drunk, you're weird. And like that, if you want to get drunk, get drunk. Hey, no shame in your game. But to be treated like you have to be, to be accepted, that's a problem. And that also leads to a lot of these situations where predators will feed alcohol or whatever to these victims to try to get them, like, just blacked out, where they're not even making any decisions anymore. For
sure.
But once you're drunk at all, like, you're not consenting. Period. But I do eventually want to talk about that. So just definitely also always make sure if you're going out drinking, go with someone else. Don't just go alone drinking to a bar in excess. If you want to go have a drink, by yourself, cool. If you're drinking in excess, make sure you bring someone else with you that you trust.
Right.
It'll be a lot safer for various different scenarios.
Right. Various reasons.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got for you today.
And it definitely went a lot heavier because, not even anticipated or even thought ourselves.
And we weren't even only supposed to talk about God, dude.
It was, right. It was. I promise you. But I felt like, again, everything for a reason. I felt like it was purposeful for getting that way. And so I know that you definitely healed a lot of people in your strength and in your ability to share, because those things are not easy to talk about or discuss.
I've been contemplating for 10 years sharing that.
But I think, like I said, we need to talk about it more,
Yeah. And I'm glad I did. I do feel a slight weight off my shoulders, even though there's some anxiety there. But I do, because I know that if I heard that, especially if it was someone that I knew, like, please, honestly, like, feel free. If anybody watches this and needs to talk to somebody, wants somebody to talk to, I'm not going to share it with anybody. Please reach out to me, and I will do everything in my power. I'm not a professional, but to help or point you to better resources than me or whatever. I'll just be an ear. If you just want an ear, if you don't want any, like, me sharing anything back, like, whatever you need. Right. If you've gone through something like this, you need someone to talk to, please feel free to reach out to me. For real. For real. Like, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It, like, I feel like that's, as much as I don't want it to happen, and I would obviously rather no one come to me because it isn't happening, I do feel like there is some kind of healing for both parties when I'm able to talk to someone who's gone through something like this. So you'd be helping me as much as you'd be helping yourself. Absolutely.
And I think that's what you have to do. We have to do that. Like, help ourselves heal, Like I said, I mean, and that's a big thing for me. Like, healing is such a big thing, because, and I know it's a lot sometimes to heal. Yeah. Like, even if you break a bone, I mean, you can't just get back up and walk. You know what I mean? Right. But I just know, again, the downsides to when people don't. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. Yeah. And to me, honestly, I mean, there are traumatic things that happen, but to me, nothing traumatic is enough. Like, when you feel like I don't feel like I deserve or should be here. And so for me, nothing, because the greatest gift we have is life, no matter how hard and crazy and fucked up it could get and all the things, but to be able to, there's beauty in living. Like, it is. Yeah. It truly is. And so for me, it's always that, like, whatever you have to do, like, everybody say, when people tell me I'm doing this, I'm going to there, I celebrate. You got to celebrate these things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're celebrating the band today, as a matter of fact. I say that, later on, our other friends as well, for being sober 6 months. And I think we need to start doing those things. We're ready to turn up and go out for every small occasion to get drunk, but we need to start celebrating people on journeys to be better and do better. Like, we have to, like, no matter what whether they want to do, whether they go on sobriety, whether they,
start working out,
whatever. We need to really start celebrating and put love so that people feel like, that, they know that is an option. Because too many times we feel like ending it is the option, and we don't even think about healing. Which, is why I have a whole thing like, heal first. Is my whole thing. Heal first, and if that doesn't work, what I'm saying? Listen, I help you. I mean, I would say help you, but you know what I mean. Like, we'll figure it out. But there
will be something that will heal you. It just takes sometimes it takes a lot, things.
But I know a lot of people who give up before they even try to heal because they automatically feel they can't. And
I understand that. I mean, I understand feeling defeated and helpless. Like, it's very real. But as much, whenever you have any kind of feeling like, today I need to do something for myself, just do it. Yeah. Just do it. Because you might not have that feeling every day, and that feeling is good. That feeling is great for you. It's going to do nothing but help you. Yeah. So follow it when it can speak loud enough against the noise.
Yes, right. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Okay, yeah. So we can
That's
keep
it.
going
We really got to go. It's getting long, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay.
This might be 2 parts.
We might do 2 parts. It might be Yeah, but Spontaneity's next after either part 1 and 2 or the whole whatever we do. It might be it's probably gonna be part 1 and 2.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Love you. Bye. Bye. Bye.